Welcome back to another depressing episode on the JK Philly channel. Uh, we see the draft order. Of course, we just talked about the Mavs, and of course, number two. How did the Spurs get there? I don't know. They shouldn't have been there either, but who cares about that? But it comes into the real question of the Sixers have the third overall pick now. You got to look at, of course, you would assume that Nico Harrison isn't going to be dumb twice and get Cooper Flag. So number two really leaves you to the guys that have been talked about the whole season of Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. Um, you look a little bit at the Spurs and you're like, do they really want a point guard in Dylan Harper, like another guard in Dylan Harper with, Stephon Castle, who is, of course, a little bit bigger of a guard, and then De'Aaron Fox, who they just signed. Chris Paul is obviously, I don't think, going to be there, and a couple of the other guards on the team as well. Do they venture more towards an Ace Bailey, and then we get the possibility of a Dylan Harper, do you think? Or do you think it's flip-flop, they get Dylan, we get Ace?
I think the smart decision is to not overthink Dylan Harper
Mm-hmm.
and take him. I think Dylan Harper is one of those players who finds himself to unfortunately be in a draft with a kid who's you knew was going to be the number one overall pick when he was 14 years old, and he started going viral at AAU camps and stuff. Dylan Harper has everything a number one overall pick should look like and have, and all the intangibles and stuff. I believe it's one of them things. Don't overthink it. Yeah, when you get blessed with a pick this high, you don't draft based on like, oh, well, we already have this guy. You take the best player available. And I see potential in Harper and Bailey. I think Harper's the better player. I think he's the smarter player.
Mm-hmm.
Bailey looks like, I don't know, watching a couple games this year of them, Bailey worries me. He worries me as one of those dudes who just like, he's got the athleticism, he's got the ability to shoot, he's got it all, but his shot selection sometimes is crazy. He's one of them dudes that, confidence is important, but if he's 0 for 7 from 3, he throwing up 3 more threes. Like, he don't care. Like, his shot selection isn't always the best. His game, like, I can see a good player being developed in there, but he shows me some of them traits that scares you. You don't want to get a guy who, he averages 25 a game, but you can't win with him.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that point in terms of like statistics I've been looking up through the year, and of course, just watching a little bit of Rutgers games. It's kind of the opposite. I've been watching a lot more Ace Bailey than I have been Dylan Harper, and for that specific fact is because I think of Dylan Harper, and I know you give the analogy of like if Michael Jordan was that pick, but we're filled with guards, I'm still picking Michael Jordan type aspect. But I think of the team of, we have Maxey, we got Quentin Grimes that I'm assuming they're going to keep, and then you got Jared McCain coming back as well, that it kind of fits that role for us coming off the bench or, wherever they decide to play him and stuff like that. But it kind of fills that role. So I'm like, I really only think, regardless of what they do, I still think that Bailey is going to be a better option for the team. In terms of how much he'll play, I have no idea because it sounds like, of course, Paul George is probably going to play next year. I would assume that they're probably going to re-sign Kelly Oubre. So in terms of like the forward position, he might not get a lot of play, especially if they keep a guy like Ricky Council. So it comes into like, yeah, we can get Ace Bailey, but are we going to play him like as much as we think we're gonna play him, or is he gonna be like a Reed Shepard in Houston that was playing on the G League team all year and you barely heard about him, but in summer league he was cooking? So is it gonna be that type of situation, and we'll just see what happens within the team? I don't know, but I feel like
Yeah,
that's how it's gonna go though.
yeah, and I can see it. Like you said, you just described both situations. There seems to be a bit of a log jam for either player.
Hmm.
Obviously, Harper has tougher players to jump in McCain and Maxey than jumping Council and Oubre and all that.
Yeah.
And obviously Paul George, we could get 3 games out of Paul George next year. We don't know. But
Hmm.
I'm a big Dylan Harper guy. I'm a big always take the best guy available type of thing. You never know what's going to happen in the future. I love Maxey to death. Maybe he gets halfway through next season and he's like, you know what, I'm tired of the Sixers, and he wants to trade, and then all of a sudden you got Ace Bailey. You never know what's going to happen. If you told somebody a year ago the Mavericks were going to trade Luka and then have Cooper Flag on the team, they'd looked at you like you were.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So I'm a big take the best player available and then just figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very. I want to ask our Spurs friends as well to see what they would rather have because, of course, when we talked about their episode that we actually just released, they were really big on Stephon Castle and De'Aaron Fox in the backcourt. So I would assume that they might want to venture into looking at an Ace Bailey or I don't know top five. I would assume VJ Edgecombe is still in that area. I don't think that he goes above either of those two.
I think he goes 4 after everybody else.
Right, right.
Four,
So,
Harper, Bailey, whichever one goes, and then I think you probably see Edgecombe come off the board.
yeah. I feel like at the forward position, I'm trying to think of like consistent forwards on the Spurs of like besides Keldon Johnson and like Jeremy Sohan and I can't even really name too much else of like
Yeah,
Devin Vassell I think is a guard, but it might be enticing to get Ace Bailey, but of course I would love to ask them and see what their views are. So hopefully we might be able to get them on an episode or something like that soon, and we can see what's going on. But if you don't have anything else, that's all I really wanted to come on here again. Like we stated in the other video, sad news again coming to the Sixers of having to come back and randomly talk about the Mavericks for the second time this year. So hopefully we don't got to talk about them too much longer, and we can just set our eyes on what we got for the draft and hope for Joel Embiid's good surgery whenever he gets that. I don't think he got it yet, but I think it's scheduled. But who knows? We'll see what happens.
yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. The only thing I would leave on is don't let not getting Cooper Flag cloud what needs to be done by the Sixers this upcoming draft. You just got the third overall pick in a washed season where you were supposed to be NBA Finals contenders. Do not ruin this third pick. You've been given a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not going to be the Cooper Flag. It's not the Holy Grail, but realistically, we're a team that should be picking in the 20s in the first round.
Yeah.
We should be like, man, I hope we get a guy in the first round that might be a good backup, like small forward or shooting guard or something. Like, you got the third overall pick, you got the chance to get a game changer. Just don't f it up, Philly.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. I definitely agree with that point. But make sure you guys. I want to also say because I was telling Kev before we started this video, we've of course been releasing all 30 series. The what's it called? The podcast that we've been releasing with all 30 NBA teams. Hopefully, been trying to get in touch with all the teams. Some people don't answer, some people do. But as we continue to do that, we're going to start trying to up it to like 2 episodes a week so we can try to be more consistent and more on time. So I record a Mavericks video almost 3 weeks ago. I'd rather release it now and get that video out soon. So get them out a little bit quicker so we have moments to talk about this and I don't have to add this to another video. But appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you on the next episode. I'm not sure who that series is going to be, but make sure you guys are tuned in. Talk to y'all.